Okay. So as we are waiting for people to join in and for Nutzi to come, I'll tell you a little bit about myself. If you're not from my tribe, this has been put out in different places and through Nutzi's network as well. So who I am is, my name is Linda Downey. I'm a functional health practitioner. And these days, I work specifically with women around stress. And when we think of stress, we think of, oh, a busy day, but it goes a lot deeper than that. We carry it in our bodies. It's much more impactful than we might realize. And so breath work is a really important tool. Hi, Judith.
Hi.
Breath work is a really important tool. There's lots of different kinds of breath work. And Nutzi and I just wanted to share with you what you can do with your breath, why it's important. And she's really an expert. But one thing I'm going to share with you while we're waiting, this book, if you've not ever seen it, you may want to consider it if this topic, if this topic interests you. James Nestor is a New York Times journalist. He's not anything in science or a doctor, but he decided to do this. He wrote the book on this, and he did a lot of research. He actually did some different techniques for himself. And so it's very, very fascinating when you understand the human body and how we're designed and how we take in breath, and what happens in the nose and the mouth when we breathe in, and then also what happens in the body, in our physiology. So let me just check and make sure nobody's having a problem. So I was fascinated, and I have a health background, and the information in this book was really interesting. So, okay, just checking to make sure. In particular, Nutzi's not having trouble getting on. Okay, so with breath, and I don't know if you've ever thought of some of these things before. People are starting to join. Okay, awesome. With breath, your emotions change. Your breathing changes your breath. And your breathing changes your emotions. So think about it. When you are happy and laughing, your breathing is in a certain pattern. You are upset and angry, your breathing is in a certain pattern. When you're sleeping, deep sleep, when you're dreaming, breath, if you just are coming on, you may just want to yourself. Here's me. So in all different states of our life and different emotions, there you are. We are.
Hi.
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 Hey. Are popping. You're coming on too, Mitzi. So I just have been chatting with. Oh, sorry, that was my phone to make sure I saw you if you were trying to reach out to me. So I'm going to pause for a moment because I've just been chatting with friends. I'll let Nutzi go ahead and want to introduce yourself, say a little bit about who you are and this topic for you. Anything?
Okay, well, I'm Nutzi. So hi, everybody. Nice to see everybody. So I am just a normal, average 58-year-old woman who stumbled into breath work. And it started about 3 years ago for me. I was in the midst of a kind of a severe metabolic breakdown illness, and just couldn't find any answers. I'm going to try to make my screen bigger. So I couldn't find any answers. And so I ended up, starting to meditate and do breath work. And, I had some unbelievable miracles and healings. I had an open wound on the end of my nose that was skin cancer. And as soon as I started doing breath work, it healed up. And so it's just been a pretty phenomenal journey. I have been doing breath work since September of 2019, which is a little over 3 years. And I went and got some certificates for breath work and yoga. And I don't know if I have missed any days in the last 3 years. I don't think that I have. I may have, but most mornings you can find me upstairs. At around 4 to 4:45 doing breath work. And I've really tried just almost every breath work. I've read James Nestor's book. And so what we're going to talk about today, what we're going to talk about today is kind of my Cliff Notes version of, 365 days a year of doing breath work and going to seminars and going to retreats, and what I've found has really worked for me. And so I love breath work. It's what I call, if you've ever heard anything that I've ever taught, I call it my secret sauce. So.
And I just want to point out what Nutzi says about doing it every day. Whatever you decide to take on in your life, and the work that I do with my clients, use a lot of different modalities and different tools. The consistency makes the difference. It's one thing to sort of have a conversation like this, maybe try it together, maybe do it through the weekend, and then go right back into your life as it was, and then be like, yeah, that was whatever. But it's the consistency that makes the difference. And it's the consistency that heals the body. The things that we get that are healing become healing because we keep bringing it into the body. We keep going there. So I just really wanted to point that out. And that's like an amazing example every day. And I also get up before 4:30 and do my whole little morning routine. So okay, just wanted to point that out.
And one of the things that, has become very apparent to me is just the very nature that we're human beings. We're doing breath work. I mean, if you don't have breath, you don't have life. So you do a breath work practice by the nature of you breathing in and out of your lungs. It's just whether you are on your default mode network or you're being intentional about it. And, when I first started, I felt like I had to do 40 minutes a day, twice a day. And it has really evolved, and I have a lot of freedom with my breath work. And so hopefully I can share with you some of the good, the bad, and the ugly, and help you bypass some of the pitfalls that I have fallen into, because I could turn anything into, legalism and rigidity. And breathwork has really helped me get past that. But also, I've gotten past myself with being rigid about breathwork.
Yeah, that's another great point, because when we set up rules for ourselves, like it doesn't have to be at 4:30. I just noticed that you do that, and I also do that. I don't know if you ever knew that about me. Maybe we got that from our Dr. Joe work. I don't know. But, that doesn't mean you have to do it at 4:00 in the morning. That's not the message, right? And the message is like to live and breathe. I hope you share your story a little bit about God telling you what God told you about breath. So
yeah, I would be so, like I said, it's really evolved. And I went to a Dr. Joe event, and the first time I did breath work, I literally fell flat on my face. Like I was like, ooh, and I, boom, thank goodness there was a blanket right in front of me because I was sitting down. And so, I have come to realize that when we live in fight, flight, or freeze so much, we end up hindering our ability to breathe. And once we start doing breath work, we're finally getting good blood flow to our brain. And so I was just like, this is amazing. Like I was having these amazing experiences at the Dr. Joe seminar. And so when I came home, I was just like all in, like I am going after this breath work, because I could really feel, the stress being released from my body. And so I would just get up 3:45, 3:33, 4:04, 4:11, 4:44. And I would come upstairs and I would get on this blue ball and I would do this breath work because I just wanted to be in the dark and I wanted to be by myself. And I was a little silly about some things, but so I was sitting on this blue ball and I was just kind of, the music was queuing up and I was putting my eye patch on and I just was wondering and, internally, I wonder if God does breath work. And I heard this booming voice, like every hair follicle, every cell in my being started to vibrate. And I heard this voice say, I am breath. And I was like, it was like so amazing. And so I started to do a really big word search on it. And, my true north is the love of God, the Almighty Christ. And, it doesn't matter really what you want to call it, but just so we're speaking the same language, I began to do a really big word search on God. And if you look at the original Hebrew of the name of God, it means breath. It means wind. And there are some scholars that believe the actual original name of God in the Hebrew, when you say it, it sounds like breath. And so, for me, there's not a big difference between breath work and prayer. To me, it's all the same because I feel like you're connecting in. Einstein said you cannot solve a problem with the same brain that created it. And so for me, when I'm doing breath work, I'm connecting in to a power of love greater than myself. And so, I get flashes of inspiration that I get answers to things that are so far above my pay grade that I know it's not my limited mind thinking about it. I mean, it is coming from, for me, that's God, a source greater than myself.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that's so great. Thank you for sharing that story because I love it. Like, could you imagine? I am breath, like, holy cow, right? And then when I heard that story, I was like, it is really true. Like the breath it's the energy exchange. Our physical body is not alive if we're not breathing. The moment we take our first breath is the moment we come into life. The moment we take our last breath is the moment we leave this body. The breath is everything, and it does connect us to an energy, and it helps calm down our body, and it brings a lot of healing. Dr. Joe, for those of you who don't know who we're talking about, it's Dr. Joe Dispenza. We both are followers of Dr. Joe Dispenza, who does a lot of work. Has anybody not ever heard of him? Okay, you may want to check him out, Dr. Joe Dispenza. I went this past June to Cancun to his seminar. Actually, the way that I know Nutsi is I was Googling his testimonials, and she's on his website as one of his testimonials. And then somehow, well, God, we got connected. And I was like, oh my God, she's the one who I read about. Like, I mean, I didn't read about it. I watched your interview. So you may want to Google that on YouTube. She's on YouTube, how famous, right? But Dr. Joe does a lot of work on healing and connecting to energy and connecting to God. And so we both follow that. So let me not chat anymore. Let you go ahead and just share your wonderful knowledge about this.
So for me, what I love so much about breath work or anything that, when science and physiology and biology and what I call mentalology and spirituality all line up and they're all saying like very similar things, then for me, like I'm like all in. It doesn't always have to all line up, but I always feel like when there is a thread that is similar running through all those things, it's probably something I need to, really look into. And I've had these chronic issues in my health since about, well, I was a sick kid pretty much, but since 2015, I've had, these episodes where I just had this chronic illness and I would go to doctors and I couldn't find the answer. And so this was just really amazing for me. And so some of the points that when I was writing notes and just kind of contemplating on what I wanted to say is, if we lose 10 pounds of weight, and James Nestor goes into this, and if we lose 10 pounds of weight, 8 of it comes through our lungs. We always think that we lose weight some kind of mystical, magical way, but really we're expelling that weight out of our lungs. So 10 pounds, 8 of it comes through our lungs. So anytime you can strengthen the lungs, you're going to strengthen your physiology, you're going to strengthen your overall system as a whole. So breath work is really, really powerful in strengthening your lungs so we can be free of toxins. But also what it does is it teaches us body awareness, or what they call I can't pronounce it all of a sudden, oh my God,
Proprioception.
yes, proprioception, which is basically where we can sense where we are at any given time in time or space. It helps us with our balance. It helps us with our equilibrium. And I think our whole society is built on one where it keeps us out of our physiology, whether we're scrolling through social media, or we're zoning out on TV, or you're driving down the road and you're driving home and you can't even remember how you got there. You just know you ended up in your driveway. And so what happens, because we are in such a current culture of social media and distraction and overwhelmment, we end up being in fight, flight, or freeze to an inordinate amount. There's a lot of noise, there's a lot of frequencies, whether it be Wi-Fi, radio waves, there's a lot of noise just, because we're all either listening to music or audiobooks, or so we spend an inordinate amount of time not being aware of where our body is at any given time. And so when we are in fight, flight, or freeze mode, what happens is our pupils narrow, our gaze narrows. As a matter of fact, I was so overwhelmed in fight, flight, or freeze mode that when I started to meditate and close my eyes, I felt like somebody was throwing pebbles at my eyes. Like I couldn't even really do it. So I had to wear an eye mask because I was, even though I had a happy marriage, a happy life, a great house, a good job, I had these hardened patterns of fight, flight, or freeze in my life that, my brain would take it something to worry about, and it would just beat the crap out of me. Does anybody know what I mean? Like you just end up getting stuck in this loopy thinking. And so our crowning achievement of evolution of the human being is our frontal lobe. And our frontal lobe is where we can critically think. We're the only ones who are only ones that have a frontal lobe. And so when we get in fight, flight, or freeze, or we stay in fight, or freeze, we shut down our frontal lobe and we go to our reptilian brain, which is great. We need to have that. Like if there's something bad that happens, we need to be able to divert our energy from digestion, go to our limbs in case we need to fight, or we need to flee, or we need to freeze. So we want to have that. But when we stay in that, it ends up being so toxic, and we create these chemicals of corrosion in our body that eventually, after 40 years, 50 years, 60 years, we begin to break down. And so, that's what's so wonderful about breath work, because you can do these little tiny snippets of breath work throughout the day, and you can change your state just by breathing differently. And, we're not meant to stay in those caustic emotions. We're meant to be like the gazelle who is chased by a lion on the Serengeti, and it gets away. And 2 minutes later, its tail is wagging and it's, grazing in the field. But because we have this frontal lobe and we can critically think, we obsess about things in our life and we get stuck in our physiology. And so, if you think about it, we are the body electric. If that were not true, they couldn't do an ECG and an EKG. And so we have like this electricity running through us all of the time. And what happens when we are in fight, flight, or freeze, it's like having your foot on the gas and the brake at the same time. And so we just end up spinning our wheels, and we end up frying our electrical circuits. And, we end up breaking down, we end up being exhausted, and then we have to have caffeine, and then we have to scroll through social media, and then we need some sugar, and then we need, so we end up having to take all these things to stimulate us because we're living in these stress hormones, and we're, functioning out of our limbic brain or our reptilian brain, and we're shutting off our frontal lobe. And they've actually done like intelligence tests and emotional IQ tests when a person is in fight, flight, or freeze. And it really does dumb you down, because you can't, have a wide path of vision if you need to have a narrow focus and figure out how to escape. And so what breath work does then is it takes you out of your fight, flight, or freeze mode and gets you into relax and chillax. So before I go on and talk about the nuts and bolts, do you want to add anything?
Yeah,
Linda?
Yes, I was just thinking, so what a lot of Nutzi just said is like our current culture and the social media, and we're so overstimulated and all of that. We also are stuck in fight, flight, or freeze for years from what happened to us when we were young, from the events of our life that we don't even remember, which is a bit of a different conversation. But I just want people to realize it's not only your current lifestyle, it's also what are you holding? What has you be ready to fight? Because when you were growing up, you had a chaotic, angry household, or something happened to you and it stayed in you, or you decided something about yourself, like I have to be perfect. So all day long, maybe you decided that in 4th grade and you're not even thinking about it. So we carry it also. And then it's kind of a double whammy with what Nutzi said, right? Like how our life is now. But clearing that's a lot. That's why I thought of it, is because it's a lot of the work that I do with people, is helping them understand. And it becomes such a regular place to live. People don't even realize until there's a major problem, until they're sick, their health is broken down, until they're not sleeping at night and their relationships are shot. Then people are like, okay, I have a problem. But it didn't just start, it's been held in you. So yeah, I just wanted to point that out, but I think we're ready to now like dive in and do some breathing.
Okay, so I do want to make a couple little points as I kind of teach you, a few tips and tricks about the breath work. There's a lot of esoteric information about breath work that makes it sound kind of spooky, woo, but I can tell you I want to just talk about the vagus nerve, and I've done a lot of videos about how to stimulate the vagus nerve. The vagus nerve is one of the cranial nerves, and it runs from the brainstem down to the pelvis. It's the longest cranial nerve, and it is the thing that is in control of our autonomic processes, meaning, we don't have to tell our heart to breathe, or when we eat something, we don't have to tell our food to digest. And, we don't have to tell our lungs to breathe. We don't have to tell when we get a wound, we don't have to tell the skin to start repairing. And so the vagus nerve is the thing that controls a lot of that. And by stimulating the vagus nerve, we can really, mechanically cause the body to get out of fight, flight, or freeze into rest and digest. Because when you're in fight, flight, or freeze, the vagus nerve is the thing that is from the brainstem, and it goes down and it talks to the body and says, okay, shut off digestion because we need need to run. So that's the vagus nerve. It is like the super highway of communication in the body. And so we can mechanically change our state because, you know, we can't think our way out of problems sometimes. And so if you look at the body from the heart below, which are it's the lungs, it's the pancreas, it's the liver, it's the digestion, it's the assimilation. It is our base processes of the body. It is the thing that helps us to survive and wake up to see another day. So it's everything that happens to us that we don't allow to pass through us. It gets stuck from below, from our heart and below. And so when you start doing breath work, a lot of people get a little freaked out because you will, you'll start for the first time, you'll have this good blood flow to your head. But also, you know, you might have emotions that you stuff. People say, you know, oh, that's getting on my last nerve, or oh, that was like a punch in the gut, or oh, you know, that made me feel sick to my stomach, or oh, I stuff my emotions, because we really do stuff those emotions from the heart and below. So the breath that we're going to do today is we're going to learn a little bit about proprioception. We're going to tune into our inner awareness, but we're going to go after the energy that is below our belly button, and we're going to contract, and then we're going to release. And what will happen is you'll feel that energy go up your vagus nerve. It'll go, and if we can get it to the heart and above the heart and out the top of our head, then we can release it. So I think that, you know, current culture kind of makes us believe that we have to have a gnashing of teeth and a, you know, dredging up the emotions, which sometimes we do, but a lot of times it's just something that, you know, we have a narrative or a belief or something that some snarky thing that someone said to us that we have internalized, and we want to be a good person, and we don't want to be, you know, crabby or bitchy or sad or whatever it is. So we stuff those feelings, and we were never meant to do that. So breath work can really release trauma. It can really change your emotional state, because your physiology follows your emotions and your thoughts. Your emotion, so a thought happens, then we have the emotion, and then our physiology follows. So when you're in, you know, a panicky, stressful state, you have shallow breathing and shortened breaths. When you're in a relaxed, chillaxed state, you have longer breathing and you have more space in your physiology. So we're going to take the remote control back of our state, and we're going to learn how to not only release trauma, but how you can do some things in just a few seconds to change your physiology.
Awesome.
How's that? Does that sound good? Everybody? Yeah? Are you guys in? Okay, good. Does anybody have any questions before we start? No? Okay, so what we're going to do, we're going to have the, did you want to say something, Linda?
I just want to ask, have any of you done breath work? Is anybody here somebody who practices some type of breath work ever? Judith, yes, okay, and okay. I can't see some of your names I can see. Okay, good. So you have some experience, and there's lots of different kinds. So this may be similar to what you've done. It may be very, very different. We'll see.
So if you ever have I'm just going to teach a real quick one. If you ever have a time where you are really having, you know, an issue, and you may be in a heated conversation with someone, and your breath is really shortened, you can just do 2 and then exhale out your mouth. So just try it in your nose. And what that'll do is that will cause you to drop out of fight, flight, or freeze. And it will just cause you to physiologically relax. And so that's just a little bitty short one. But if you wouldn't mind starting the music, we're gonna learn a little bit about proprioception, and then we're gonna get right into our breath work. Do you have the music, Linda?
Yeah, and you said to me about 5 minutes in, so I fast forwarded it to the 5 minute mark. Is that what you want? Okay.
Yeah, perfect.
All right. So I have a
So
little.
what I'd like for you to do is sit up nice and tall if you're sitting, and then if you could place your feet flat on the ground. And then what I want you to do is just kind of right now lift through the crown of your head. So just lift through the crown of your head. So you're kind of lifting your sternum. And then I want you to roll your shoulders down and back and just press them down. Just press your shoulders down. Okay, so just press your shoulders down. And what we're going to start out doing is we're just going to tap where you tap your sternum. So just tap your sternum. So just find your sternum and tap your sternum. And what I want you to do is imagine that you are just breathing in and out of your heart center, because we're going to try to get that energy that's stored below our belly button just from digestion. You think about keep tapping. You think about your colon, it's like a stuffed sausage. We got a lot of stuff going on down there. And so, just not even if we have stored trauma down there, we can just have a lot of energy down there. So just for a second, close your lips. Did you start the music? Is it on?
Can't hear it?
No. Because it'll help us keep rhythm if we can.
You don't hear that?
Nope.
Wow, it's up, it's all the way up. Does anybody hear the music?
Huh. No, you need to share your computer sound. There you go. There you go.
There it was. There it was.
You didn't do anything, but okay, as long as you can hear it.
There it started. Okay, so just lightly tap your heart, and we're going to, it quit again. I don't know what happened. We're going to breathe in and out of our heart. So just close your eyes and focus on your heart and just take a breath in your nose and out your nose. Still can't hear it.
Try this. Hold on. I have it going on this little speaker.
Now I can hear it. Now we can hear.
Oh, I just shut it off because you couldn't hear it. All right, let me turn it back on. Hold on. Maybe I just needed to put it in a different spot, the speaker. Hold on. Just keep tapping, just keep tapping.
So let's just close our eyes while she does this, and just imagine your breath is going in and out of your heart. And it's called heart-brain coherence breath. So you're just, instead of your attention being in your brain, you're just dropping it, can't hear it, to your heart, can't hear it at all.
Yeah, it's not playing just yet. Hold on.
So you can just have your hands on your heart and just breathe in and out of your heart through your nose. And imagine dropping your attention from your brain down into your heart. Nice slow breaths. And if it helps, you can do a count of 4 in and 4 out. We're just lengthening the length of our breathing. All right, now I just want you to put your hands on top of your head and just tap right here. Just tap right on top of your head. So when we do this breath, that's the place that we're going to go to. That's the target spot. So we're going to get it from our pelvis through our heart to the top of our head. Any luck on the music?
It's not queuing up. So I'm working on it.
Okay. So now what I want you to do is you can put your hand down. So now what I want you to do is I want you to pretend like you're tinkling in the woods. Okay, so you're tinkling in the woods and someone's coming and you got to shut off your flow of urine. So I want you to pull up, okay? So you're squeezing kind of like the Kegel muscle, okay? And then, so I want you to hold that, just hold that real tight. And then I want you to press your shoulders down, okay? And then I want you to pull your belly button in. And then I want you to bring your chin down to your chest. And remember, or think about having a spot right below your belly button. And you're just going to contract that spot. So let's try it and hold it as hard as we can. Ready? Pull up and push down and squeeze for a count of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, and release. Okay? So that's what we're going to be doing. So we're going to start out with some long breaths. And then on the inhale, we're going to imagine that internally we're like a cup. And on the inhale, after we inhale, we're going to press down and squeeze as hard as we can. We're going to bring as much energy, focus, and attention to that spot right below our belly button. We're going to hold it. And then when we release, we're just going to exhale and allow that energy. We're going to listen to that energy. We're going to see where it goes. And we're going to try to allow it to go through the heart and up to the top of the head. So you may not get it the first couple of times. You may have to just keep with me here and keep pressing down. It's like priming a pump. You know how those old water faucets that you had to like prime the pump? We're going to do a few of those breaths to prime the pump. And then we're going to get up enough energy to allow that to get out the top of the head. I bet I can get it. Hold on just a minute.
It's totally loud here. It's so loud for me, I can't even hear you.
Yeah, here, let me try. I bet I can do it. Hang on just a sec. No, it's no biggie. Hold on. Does everybody understand what I'm putting down? You figure, we'll go with it. Okay, thank you. Hang on, let me get this.
It's interesting because with my clients, I often do like a meditation or something, and that's exactly how we do it, through the speaker, and they always hear it. So I don't know why, on a Zoom call. So I don't know why we can't. Sorry.
Well, there's a way. Let me see if this works.
I'm not stressed about it. That I can hear that. Yeah,
I don't even have it hooked up yet. So
Linda,
yes,
I have a question, or for either Nutzi or you. Why do you breathe in? I mean, and breathe in through the nose, but why don't you exhale through your mouth? To me, you get a more clearing of your lungs and more force.
We are going to for this one.
Okay.
But when you're doing a heart brain coherence breath, you want to breathe in and out of your nose, because what that does, and I've done a lot of videos on it, so I don't want to go into it too much, but you create nitric oxide in the body. So I don't know why now it's not.
And in this book, there's a lot of information about that. And in fact, after I read this, I, for about a month, slept with my mouth taped shut.
I do that too.
Yeah, and and he recommends doing that with children. If your children are mouth breathers, to actually get people to train. I hear it, Nikki. I hear it. Do you guys hear the music?
Can you hear it? All right, are we ready? So if you don't feel comfortable, you can turn your your camera off, but we're gonna start with our feet flat on the floor. Okay, we're gonna roll our shoulders down. We're gonna lift through the crown of the head. I want you to close your eyes and let's just start with some long breaths in and out of our nose. And I want you to breathe all the way down to your pelvis. And then when you exhale, just let it go out of your nose. So you imagine you're like a cup is what Tumo breath says, okay? So the cup is empty. We're gonna fill that cup up with air and then we're gonna release that air. So we'll just do the rhythmic breathing, if you can hear the music, for a little bit. I'm gonna turn it up. Can you hear me too, talking? Okay, so here we go. Close your eyes, breathe in and out of your nose. Let's just do a count of 4. Here we go. Inhale and exhale. And inhale. And exhale. And inhale. And exhale. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale. And exhale. And inhale. And exhale. And inhale. And exhale. All right, now what I want you to do is we're gonna breathe in and we're gonna imagine that we have a spot right below our belly button and we're just gonna kind of crunch down. You don't have to do it really hard, so we're gonna breathe in and we're gonna hold it and we're gonna release and let the breath come out, and then just listen. If you have to take a breath or two while you're doing it, that's fine, but we're gonna inhale, contract, exhale, and then I want you to try to sense where that breath is going, okay? So here we go, and inhale, and crunch down right below the belly button, and hold it, and exhale, let it go, and just listen. See if you can get that energy up to the heart. Again, here we go. Inhale, and right below the belly button like you're doing a crunch, and hold it, and release, and listen. See if you can hear your heart in your ears. All right, inhale, and crunch. This time press your shoulders down and pull up on your pelvic floor, pull your chin in, lean forward and squeeze. And exhale, lean back. Relax your shoulders, listen. Here we go. Inhale. Shoulders down, belly button in, squeeze, lift up, hold it. And exhale, let it go. Sit back just a little bit. You'll feel your heart rate increasing. This time when we squeeze, we're gonna try to squeeze as hard as we can to get that air and that blood flow through the heart towards the throat. Ready, here we go. Lean forward and inhale. And squeeze. And pull the belly button in. And shoulders down, chin in, and hold it. And release. Sit back. All right, again, we're really gonna go for it this time. Here we go. Inhale. Shoulders down, chin in, belly button in, pull up, and squeeze. And exhale. Sit back, relax. Let that blood flow, that energy go towards your brain. All right, here we go. Inhale. Pelvic floor up, belly button in, squeeze, shoulders down, chin in, really pull it in and squeeze. And release. Sit back. All right, again, here we go. Inhale, squeeze, push down, pull it in as hard as you can, squeeze. And exhale. Here we go again. Inhale, squeeze, shoulders down, chin in, as hard as you can, pull it in. And exhale. Here we go. Inhale, pull up, belly button in, shoulders down, chin in, and squeeze. Harder, as hard as you can right now. And exhale. All right, this time we're gonna aim for the top of our head. When we release, we're gonna let that energy go up our body. Here we go. Inhale. Squeeze, shoulders down. Just really pull up as hard as you can and push down. And exhale. Sit back. You might even feel your hands tingle. Here we go. Inhale. Pull up. Shoulders down, chin in, and squeeze. And exhale. Sit up. Let that energy go to the top of your head, through your throat. Here we go. Let's give it all we got this time. Really inhale. Shoulders down, pull it in, and squeeze. Just really squeeze, chin in, shoulders down, pull up. Like you're doing a crunch as hard as you can. And exhale. Just touch the top of your head. We're gonna aim for the top of our head. We're gonna get that air all the way up there. Here we go, hands down and inhale. Chin down, shoulders down, and squeeze. Tighten your butt cheeks as tight as you possibly can. Pull it in, pull it in, pull it in, pull it in. And exhale. Sit back. All right, again, here we go. Inhale. Pull up, belly button in. Pull that belly button in like you're trying to touch your spine. Shoulders down, chin in, and squeeze, and squeeze, and squeeze, and squeeze. And exhale. And listen and feel and sense, relax. All right, here we go. Inhale. squeeze, belly button in, push those shoulders down, bring that chin in, and squeeze, and pull it in as hard as you can, and squeeze. And release. Sit back and let that air and that energy go through your heart, up your throat, past your eyes, out the top of your head. We're getting good blood flow to our brain. All right, here we go, Inhale. Push your shoulders down, chin in, belly button in, squeeze, and squeeze, a little tighter. Squeeze. And exhale. And allow that breath to go up. You might even hear your ears pop. Try to sense the top of your head. That energy's up at the top of your head. You might feel little twitches in your shoulder where you've been carrying tension. Just relax and let that energy go up. All right, few more. Inhale, here we go. Breathe in. Shoulders down, chin down. Squeeze, belly button in. Tighten your butt cheeks, pull up on your pelvic floor, and squeeze, and squeeze, and squeeze, and squeeze, and release. We're gonna go again. Here we go. Inhale. Shoulders down, chin in, belly button in, and squeeze. Squeeze, and squeeze, and squeeze, and release. Here we go again. One more time. Inhale. And shoulders down and squeeze. Now give it all you got. This is our last one. Really pull it in. And push down from above. Chin in and squeeze, and squeeze, and squeeze. And exhale. And let's just sit here for a minute. Give up control of your breath. Just see what your heart is doing. Notice the energy going through the back of your throat. Notice what's happening to your ears, your eyes, top of your head. All right, open your eyes. So did you guys feel that? Could you feel it going up your tube to the top of your head? Everybody feel that? So I want to give you a few little tips that I would do in conjunction with that. So, you know, a lot of times when you do these breathwork practices, they have you do breath after breath after breath. But what I think happens is it kind of robs you of the experiencing or the experience of seeing what's going on in your internal chemistry. So when we pause, did anybody feel like the energy go like in their armpit or up their neck? Did anybody feel? So when you do this breath work day after day after day, what'll happen is you'll become so aware of where you have congestion in the body that breath work will go to that area. And just like water, you know, finds a way around things, it'll find a way around things until it eventually can go through things. And you'll just blow it out of your physiology. And, you know, I had suppressed a memory of being molested when I was 4 and to 9. I mean, I was 50 some years old and didn't even realize that that was part of my reality. And I just kept breathing into my heart center because I had kind of tucked it under my armpit, and I kept breathing into my heart center, and I kept breathing into my heart center, and I kept breathing into my heart center. And eventually I was able to have all of that in alignment, and I didn't have to go back and, you know, relive what happened to me or talk to the person who did it. I was able to change my state through just doing breath work and connecting to God, the, Almighty to me. And I was just bringing that breath, and I relieved all of that trauma that I was holding in my body. And so some other things that you can do, I was guided to set an alarm on my phone. It started out as every 2 hours, and what I was guided to do is to stop, drop, and roll. And I was like, that's pretty funny, because that's what we did when we learned how, if there was a fire, what to do. We stopped, we dropped on the ground, and re-rolled. And what they were telling me is if you could set an alarm on your phone and stop what you're doing and drop into your heart and just roll with the breath through your heart, you'll stop yourself from being on fire and fight, flight, or freeze mode. So, I would suggest that you do 10 minutes to start out with this kind of breath work where you're really priming the pump and you're getting that energy, but also just set an alarm on your phone and drop down into your heart. And the reason I think it's important, because I think we get lost in our day and our mind and our agenda and our schedule, and we don't even realize how, we have slipped into fight, flight, or freeze mode. But there's a couple other things that you can do that are really helpful if you want to set an alarm on your phone. So when we are, when we are stressed out, our shoulders are down, our head is down, our breathing is short, and we don't even realize that, our physiology follows our emotions. So what I would do when I would set this alarm, I would just do things like just bring your hands over your head for just a minute. Like, everybody put your hands over your head, and then just kind of push your arms back. So kind of loosen your elbows. My hands are like this. You're going to push your arms back, and I want you to look up, and I want you to open your chest. So just open your chest and kind of lean back. Now put your hands down. Put your hands down. Do you feel that you've created space in your chest? Okay, so let's do it again. Up, arms, hands open like this. And then you're just gonna try to open your chest as much as you can. And then I want you to look back. And I want you to breathe in and out of your nose. Like you're trying to push your elbows together. And I want you to bring it down. And I want you to just feel how you have all of this electricity running through your upper body. Another thing you can do is you can just put your hands behind your head like this. Okay, and then you're just gonna open your chest, and you're just gonna lean a little bit to the side. And then can you feel how we get so much congestion in our torso, and we kind of shorten our ability to stretch to the side? We want to loosen all of that up. It doesn't have to be a big yoga program. Let's go to the other side. Good. Now I want you to take your hands and I want you to put them right below your collarbone. Doesn't matter where, just push. We get just one hand on, or two hands on one side. And then whatever side that it's on, like mine are on my left side, I want you to just turn your head to the side and look up and kind of put your head to the back. Can you feel how you're stretching all that in your neck? We have so many lymph nodes that when we shorten our breath, we get so much congestion right there. So really look, chin up to the ceiling, take some breaths in and out of your nose. All right, let's go to the other side. Press right below your collarbone and look up. Okay, now what I want you to do is we're just gonna do a couple more breaths like we did. And I want you to notice the difference of how much space you have created in your torso, okay? So we don't have to do it as intense as we did, but let's just try it again. So what I like to do is I like to move forward when I breathe in, then I push down, I pull in, and then when I release, I kind of sit back and allow that energy to flow. So let's just do a few more. Here we go. Can you hear the music? Okay, here we go. Inhale. And push down, pull up, and squeeze. And exhale. Good. Inhale. Push down, pull up, and squeeze. And exhale. One more. Here we go. Inhale. Pull up, belly button in, shoulders down, chin down, and pull up and squeeze. Aim for the top of your head, and exhale. All right, big breath, inhale, and exhale out your mouth. One more, inhale, and exhale. Great job. And maybe Linda, you could send them that YouTube video because that's a really good beat to do the breath to. But does anybody have any observations or questions that they might want to share?
Yeah, Linda, I have a question. When you lean forward on your breath and squeeze down, I seem to have a tendency to want to take my fists and clench them. Is that a yes or a no not to do?
That is a yes.
Okay.
That is a yes. Whatever you need. And I move a lot. You'll see people who do breath work that they don't move. I'm like a wiggle worm, and I have been my entire life. I mean, I'll move back. Like I go in like this, and I push down, and I squeeze down, and then I exhale. You know, because if you want to create movement in your body, you have to move. So for me, it helps me, you know, whether it's really doing the breath work or not, it helps me mentally to move like that, because you got to move in order to create movement. So whether, you know, and I grit my teeth and I close my eyes like this, and I'm going for it because I know that I have, you know, I've had colon cancer, I've had, you know, constipation, incontinence, my entire life. It's going to take a jackhammer of energy to get all that crap to move up. So whatever it takes.
Okay.
Linda, do you have anything you want to share?
I thought maybe just to recap, so the quick tool that Nutzi showed us at the beginning was 2 quick inhales in your nose and an exhale out of your mouth, like in the moment when you're in like a conflict. That's a great, easy, quick tool. And then starting, even if it's start with 5 minutes, but shoot for 10 of the rhythmic breathing that we just did. And I can share this. If you visualize your breath. Hold on, Linda Fiedler, can you just like mute your, can you mute yourself? Yeah, because you can hear whatever's going on in the background. That would be great. Thank you. So what was I just going to say? Oh, in your mind, follow with your imagination or your mind's eye the movement, because what you're focusing on and thinking about, if you're following it, it's the energy follows your thoughts and your attention. So that's another piece you could do. I wanted to add that. So then shooting for 5 to 10 minutes, 10 would be great. Nutzi, how long do you do breath work in the morning now yourself? Do you do like a half hour, 45 minutes?
I probably do a minimum of 30 minutes. And then every 54 minutes, my alarm goes off on my phone and I just stop, drop, and roll. I stop what I'm doing for 30 seconds. I just put my hand on my heart. I breathe in and out of my heart, and I'll just do a couple quick, you know, pushing down and letting that blood flow get to my head. Because I don't know, did any of you feel kind of like when we were doing that, like, whoa, could you feel that energy getting to your head? Like it, you know, it really is it's a hack for creativity, for healing, for ideas, for if I have a meeting, if I have a meeting where, you know, like I'm either presenting or, you know, it's something important, or even if I have a conversation, if I'm going to have a conversation that's difficult for me, I'll do some breath work to knock myself out of, my reptilian brain and get into my forward brain so I can access information outside of my trauma and my stress and my, my limited ability to think. And so it doesn't, I think the reason I do it so much in the more, I have a big blue ball that I get on first. So I put my back on this big blue ball and I do some breath work and I open up my chest. I'll just breathe with my arms back, breathe with my arms like this, because I know that, I carry a lot of congestion in my torso. So I'll do that first. And then sometimes I'll do Wim Hof and then I'll put this music on and I'll just breathe until I'm dizzy because I want to change my state. And this is like the quickest way to change your state. It is by far the if you're having a hard time with your emotions, if you're having a hard time in your life, if you're having a hard time in your body, if you do a little breath work, you will walk away, feeling better.
Yeah. Yep. Really great. And then, so there's the Wim Hof method, there's fire breathing, there's all different kinds of breathing, but this can get you started on a little bit of a practice. I'm going to share the link for the music that Nutzi used here that I couldn't share with you, but I was listening to it here and it's lovely music. And then you also shared with me a playlist. Is that videos you've done?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I've done a lot of videos on stimulating the vagus nerve. You can buy just a little soft ball at a very soft child's ball at Walmart and roll on that. I've done a lot of videos on that. That helps. If you've got gas and bloating and you're constipated and crabby, doing the gut smash to stimulate the vagus nerve is your best friend. It really is. And so I've done videos on that and I've done videos on breath work and I've interviewed people. And I think even on that playlist, I have some shorts from James Nestor. But also, if you want to email me or you want to call me and you want me to help you, I would be honored for free to plant my time into your life to help you with this, because I'm so passionate about this for people. I'd be glad to help anybody who would need my help or wants my help.
You know what we could do, since you so graciously offered that, is rather than having, because there's 56 people registered for this, so they're all going to get the replay, even though they may not be here live. Mm-hmm. I just had this vision of 30 people going, I want you to help me.
I don't mind. I really don't mind. Anybody because not everybody's going to reach out, but if you really feel like this is, because it's kind of private a little bit. And so I understand if somebody wants to reach out and wants me to help them, but we could also do another group thing if you want.
Well, that's what I was going to say. If people want to do more work, or even if we said like, we'll do 5 weeks, like one time a week for 5 weeks to get you started, we can do it as a group. That this way, like we could just pick, and if you can't make the time, you'll get the recording because you're saying you're interested too. Like we could do something like that so that.
Scott, is that you? Hi, Scott's my friend, my good friend. We've run together for years. Are you still doing a breathwork practice, Scott? You are? Oh, you're muted. I can't hear you. Yeah, Scott, how much weight did you lose doing the nitric oxide and the 30 pounds? He lost 30 pounds when he started doing nitric oxide and breath work. I mean, it really does work, doesn't it, Scott? Yeah.
Yeah, and the
yes, Rhonda?
Yes. Is that all you did, Scott? I'm so intrigued, because after doing this, I literally felt like I had a workout. Like seriously. Yeah.
There are a lot of people. Scott, you're on your phone, so there should be an icon down at the bottom. There are a lot of people who just do breath work for their fitness. That's their fitness program.
Well, I don't have to do abs anymore. I used to be an ab fiend. And, when you do that breath and you're pulling up and you're pushing down, it really is like an ab work. But I want to, circle back and say, for every 10 pounds that you lose, 8 of it comes out of your lungs. And so if you can strengthen your lungs, you don't have to work out as hard. And, Scott's a runner and he does work out, but he added these things to what he was doing. I don't want to speak for you, but you know, it really did, it made a huge difference, didn't it?
And and what was the other thing I wanted to say? You know, cellulite, when we create cellulite on our body, it's, hold on, Linda, can you mute yourself? Linda?
Yes.
Okay, awesome, thanks. When the body creates cellulite, it's because there's excess toxins that the body shunts away from the organs to store in the skin. So you're not clearing out your toxic load well enough, and that's why cellulite starts to build up. So Nutzi talked about how this will get the lymph going, opening up the chest, tapping, getting the lymph moving, getting your energy moving is going to help that lymph. It's going to help move the toxins that are stored in your body, which is going to help with the cellulite. I mean, just trying to give you any reason to start. Cellulite.
Anybody notice a difference? Anybody notice a difference from when we stretch and then we did the breath? Could you feel like you had more space in your upper body? Yeah, so I think that's a good way to start. You don't have to make it a big deal. You can even just sit in your chair or however you do it. If you do that first and then you do the breath work, it really does make a difference.
So this is what I'm going to do. Nutzi, I'm going to ask you after we're done, you give some available times for you that work for you. And then anybody who wants to continue, well, maybe we'll say we'll do a 4-week thing, and maybe we'll start after the holidays so people aren't trying to squeeze it in. I don't know. But you say like Thursday nights at this time are fine, or whatever. And then if you can come live, great. If you can't, you can get the recording if you let me know that you want that. But we'll go with what your schedule works.
Yeah. I'm pretty flexible, and I think what we'll do next time is I'll put the camera farther away where you can see where you can see me seated. I think that will help. And we can actually do it to where I stretch you a little bit first and then we go into it. And I think that will be good. But I didn't want to just go into it without, kind of having a basis of understanding.
Yeah, no, it was wonderful. Thank you so much. Anybody else have any questions?
I have another one. The nitric oxide has me a little bit curious because I have looked into some research on that where they say, and I wonder if you gals have heard of it, where it helps with Alzheimer's. Have you seen anything about that?
It helps with
for sure. Yeah, I did several like week-long or 2-week-long challenges where I go into how to do the nitric oxide workout and what it does. But nitric oxide is a signaling molecule. And, just doing this 4-minute workout, you will signal nitric oxide to flow through your body. And it is such a healing molecule. So you can also check that out. But Zach Bush is the one who came up with it. And then I just kind of piggybacked on what he did. But Scott, are you still doing nitric oxide? Yeah, me too. I do it every day. It's like a 4-minute hack, health hack, workout hack. And it's really, really helpful.
And is that something that we could go to YouTube and put in the search bar nitric oxide workout?
If you can go to my channel, I have several 2-week challenges where I just do it in my kitchen and sometimes in my work clothes. I mean, you don't have to change clothes. Sometimes I do it when the dogs are outside in the morning. It's super easy peasy, cheesy squeezy.
Awesome. All right, great. So we're going to send this out to everybody who registered. We're going to get Nutzi's availability and we'll do whatever you say you want to do. If it's a month or 5 weeks or 8 weeks or 4 weeks, whatever it is, and anybody who wants to get started, this will be a way to get started in your breathwork practice.
Good.
Okay, and then
we'll do some different ones too. We'll do this one, but I'll also teach you some other ones that are really helpful.
Yes, and I'll share when I send out this recording. I'll wait until Nutzi and I get that coordinated. I'll put that information in. I'll put the playlist in. I'll put Nutzi's YouTube channel in so you can go and watch her challenges and do that on your own if you want to. So I'll just try to gather all that information up and put it all on one email. And if you just tagged in my email as somebody from this workshop. So okay.
Any other questions or comments anybody wants to make? And I'd be glad to answer any other questions if you have them.
Thank you.
It's my pleasure. It really is my passion. It really, it's my passion. It has, for me, it's the same as prayer. For me, it's the same as meditation. The breath is the thing that links the mind and the body. And, it has just changed everything for me. So I love for people to be invited to join me on the journey because it really does make a difference.
I love your passion about it. Thank you for being passionate, because it really sparks, like, I do breath work and now I want to do more because of you.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, everybody, thank you so much. And you'll get all that information probably like in the next day or so, as soon as we coordinate what possible times, because I want to make sure we include that. Okay.
Thank you
Thank
both.
you, Linda.
All right. You're welcome. Thank you.
Thanks. Bye. Bye.